Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and this is the final Pro Football Focus list that we are going to be looking into. It is the roster rankings going into the upcoming 2021 season. Now, this is going to be extensive. We're not going to be here for too long, I think, analyzing all the other teams and whatnot, but it is going to be very interesting to see where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are ranked. Let me know what you guys think about the entirety of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster down in the comments section below and where you would have them ranked. If you guys are new, go ahead and subscribe, like the video if you guys enjoy this type of content. And then after this, we're going to be getting into some training camp discussion here, probably in tomorrow's video, which is going to be a lot of fun. So without further ado, let's get started here. Coming in at number 32, the worst roster in the league, according to Pro Football Focus, is the Houston Texans. This isn't very surprising. I talked about this in the recent video today, in the linebackers video, that, you know, the Houston Texans, they have some good linebackers, but after that, I mean, it's definitely something that is going to need some work and development, especially, let's say, that offensive line. I mean, you guys can look at all the players here and all their number rankings according to Pro Football Focus. Tyrod Taylor is presumably the starting quarterback right now, given that, you know, Deshaun Watson has some off-the-field stuff going on. But overall, this is a roster that's going to need a lot of work. I mean, Bill O'Brien just really did a number on this team, and they're going to have to work to correct that. So overall, yeah, the Houston Texans being at number 32, that makes a good deal of sense in my opinion. Coming in at number 31, we actually have the Detroit Lions, which is pretty interesting. I know the Pro Football Focus prides itself in, you know, formulas and numbers and things like that to get their results here. But overall, I mean, I think that the Detroit Lions are going to surprise some people this upcoming season. I really do, and it's not just because I love the head coach. I really do love the head coach, though. But overall, I think Jared Goff's a serviceable quarterback. I think they have some good running back pieces. Wide receiver, you know, they definitely are lacking some stuff. If they would have re-signed Kenny Golladay, this would have been a different conversation. But I think the O-line's good. TJ Hawkinson's young. I think the defense has some very good pieces in there as well. Lions at 31. Meh, you know, I don't know. And I really like Anthony Lynn as an offensive coordinator as well to get the most out of some of these guys on offense. So we'll see. I do think the Lions will surprise some people. Coming in at number 30, we have the New York Jets, who actually have LaMarcus Joyner now with Marcus May. I did not know that, but you know, they have Zach Wilson. He's the new quarterback. You know, they have some interesting pieces on offense that they've invested in. The defense is still pretty much the exact same from last year. Not much has changed. We'll see what happens. It's going to be entirely up to Zach Wilson and how he does to determine where this team goes. They've got a lot of pieces built around him now, you know, besides running back, basically. Maybe they'll get one later on, but it all just depends on where this team goes. You know, it all depends on Zach Wilson, in my opinion. You know, so we'll see. We'll see how the young rookie does. Coming in at number 29, you have the Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. I think he's a dog. I think he's going to be absolutely amazing. They're still lacking some weapons on offense. The O-line is certainly taking some hits. Defense is still solid, but they're aging a little bit. Yeah, the Eagles, you kind of get the vibe that the Eagles, they're kind of in a limbo right now. You know, they're not necessarily rebuilding 1,000%, but they're also kind of holding on to the last few straws of that Super Bowl team from just a couple of years ago, especially on that defense. So we'll see how they do overall. You know, Jalen Hurts, I think he'll be good, but I think this team just needs a little bit more time to build some stuff up. Coming in at number 28, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm excited about Trevor Lawrence, James Robinson, and Travis Etienne. Those three guys I think are going to be wonderful together. The defense definitely still has some question marks, especially you know, say along that, well, not even the defensive line, because I'm a big fan of J2 Feely, Josh Allen, amongst some of the other guys, but overall, this team, yeah, you just feel like they're primed to do some big things. It's just going to take a little bit more time, maybe a couple of more years, say 2 years from now. I think the Jaguars will be playoff contenders again. But who knows? They could just come out of the gate swinging with Trevor Lawrence and maybe be a playoff team dark horse. You know, who knows? But Jaguars coming in at number 28. Number 27, you have the Carolina Panthers. This one makes a good deal of sense in my opinion. You have Sam Darnold, who, to be honest, I don't know, you know, I don't know how he's going to do. It's a question mark right now. We'll have to wait and see. They still have some good weapons with McCaffrey, Moore, and Anderson. I think that's a great trio of weapons. The O-line is not in the best spot. It really isn't. And the defense still has some question marks as well at certain positions, especially in that secondary. So we'll see how they do. Coming in at number 26, the Las Vegas Raiders. Overall, they're going to be an interesting team to keep an eye on. If they don't do good, what's going to happen with John Gruden? That's going to be a big question for me. Number 25, the Atlanta Falcons coming in here. They lost Julio Jones. That will hurt anybody, basically. Number 24, you have the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm a big Joe Burrow guy. I think he can be really, really good. Number 23, the Chicago Bears. I'm a big Justin Fields guy, but Andy Dalton is the starter right now. I also like David Montgomery and some of the guys they have on defense. And, Allen Robinson might finally have a quarterback, which God bless him. Coming in at number 22, you have the Miami Dolphins, which this one's kind of surprising considering they won 10 games last year. Brian Flores is a great coach in my opinion. We'll see how Miami does. Will they kind of fall apart after a 10-6 season like what the Bucs did with Raheem Morris a long time ago, or will they have some consistency with potential playoff football? We'll see. Number 21, you have the Arizona Cardinals. This one's interesting because a lot of people peg the Cardinals as kind of a playoff team, right? They were on the cusp of being a playoff team last year, so we'll see how they do. Their secondary is a little bit weak. Could definitely use some work, but Kyler Murray is just an electric quarterback, and they have DeAndre Hopkins, which I think helps out a great deal as well. Coming in at number 20, you have the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm a big fan of a lot of quarterbacks, right? But I like Justin Herbert. I like Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson. Keenan Allen is a route-running god, in my opinion. And Derwin James returning from injury as well. And Asante Samuel Jr. I wish Asante Samuel Jr. was on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I really do. That would have been so fun to see him and Antoine Winfield Jr., but it was not to be. I think the Buccaneers will be fine overall. But the Chargers, they could also be a team that will make some noise in the playoffs, potentially. Number 19, you have the New York Giants. In my opinion, if Daniel Jones doesn't play good, this team won't go anywhere. And honestly, it could result in them moving on from Daniel Jones. He's been so hot and cold, so up and down. We'll have to wait and see what happens with him. Number 18, you have the New England Patriots. And I'm happy that, the Patriots, they made some improvements, of course. But I've seen again, I think this is a very realistic ranking for the Patriots. Will they be a playoff team? Who knows? We'll see. I think it's definitely a possibility, especially with some of those guys returning, both on offense and on defense. They added some pieces. I'm very excited about Mac Jones. I think he will be a very good young quarterback in this league, and I think he's perfect for the Patriots. So we'll see. The O-line's still strong. Defense has some pieces back. 18, I think, is a solid of enough ranking there for the New England Patriots. Number 17, you have the New Orleans Saints, which a year ago, heck, they probably would have been in the top 5. So just to clarify here, in terms of NFC South division rivals, you have the Falcons all the way down here in the late 20s. Same thing with the Carolina Panthers. You have the Falcons at 25, right? You have the Carolina Panthers at 27, and then you have the New Orleans Saints all the way up here at, 17? Yeah, number 17. So the O-line's still great. The running back room is great. Michael Thomas actually is going to be hurt. He just had surgery to repair some ligaments in his ankle. He's expected to be out for at least the first 6 weeks of the regular season, at least according to ESPN and all the other news articles I saw. So that's a huge weapon gone. So in terms of the offense, you have a great O-line, you have some good running backs, and you have Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill, whichever one wins that quarterback battle. That's going to be interesting. How is that going to work? I expect this team to probably be a pretty run-heavy type of offense, especially in the first 6 weeks without Michael Thomas. So we're going to have to wait and see. The defense still has some of their pieces back, but they lost some very big depth guys, and they're going to have to rely on, guys that they've drafted in the past, guys that they just drafted recently to try and pick up some of that slack, especially in the secondary. And we'll see how that works out. They lost a lot of pieces for cap concerns and whatnot, and they have a brand new quarterback in Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill post-Drew Brees era. Saints at number 17. I think it makes sense given a lot of the talent that they lost, and they're definitely going to be an intriguing team to pay attention to, especially at the start of the season without Michael Thomas. So yeah, let's pay attention to that. Coming in at number 16, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big Ben, it's probably his last year, but they still have pieces all over the place on offense and on defense. I love Najee Harris. Overall, Steelers at 16, that one makes sense. Number 15, the Seattle Seahawks. This one makes some sense as well. That O-line, they're trying, but that O-line is not it, Chief. Russell Wilson's been absolutely battered for years now. Kerry Hyder Jr., I'm happy I'm happy Kerry Hyder Jr. is finding himself in some starting positions somewhere now. I like him. I think he's an underrated guy, but overall, they've lost so many pieces over the handful of years here, and that O-line has not improved. They're going to go as far as Russell Wilson can take him, and with a really banged-up O-line, we'll have to wait and see how they do. They've been a playoff team for years, but, when is it going to start to crack and fall apart? We'll have to wait and see. Number 14, you have the Indianapolis Colts. Great, solid ranking in my opinion. Chris Ballard's an absolute wizard, and I think that coaching staff can get the most out of Carson Wentz yet again. So we'll see how they do there. Overall, Colts at 14, I think, is a good spot. Number 13, the Tennessee Titans, I think that's a good spot as well for them. They've got good pieces on offense and on defense. Washington football team all the way up at number 12 with Fitzpatrick at quarterback. That's huge in my opinion. Antonio Gibson, I'm a big fan of his as well. They brought in Curtis Samuel. They have Terry McLaurin. The O-line's decent enough, I believe. They have some young guys in there. But with Fitz at quarterback, hell, they should have been number 2 in my opinion. But yeah, Fitz at quarterback, he's a solid veteran. He's never going to retire. The defense, I think, is what carries Washington this high up to number 12. So we'll see with that. Number 11, you have the San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance. What's going to happen with that? Honestly, I expect Trey Lance to probably be the starting quarterback by the end of the season. And, who knows what's going to happen with Garoppolo? A lot of teams don't need quarterbacks after this season. So we'll wait and see. Garoppolo's future, as a starter might be in question. But overall, they've still got good pieces on offense, even though they are injury prone. Their defense is still really solid. 49ers at number 11. Number 10, the Denver Broncos, underrated in my opinion. Drew Lock or Teddy B, who's going to be the starting quarterback. Melvin Gordon's a good running back. Cortland Sutton's coming back from injury. Good stuff there. Number 9, the Minnesota Vikings, Cousins, Cook, Jefferson, Thielen. Yeah, that's a good offense. And their O-line's getting worked on, man. Their O-line is getting worked on. The defense, they just always have a solid defense. Danielle Hunter's coming back. They brought back Dalvin Tomlinson, and Michael Pierce is there as well. That defense is going to be good, in my opinion, man. With Patrick Peterson, who I think is going to be able to return to form with Mike Zimmer. Look out for the Vikings, because I really do think they could be a wild card team. Number 8, the Dallas Cowboys. Again, much like with the Vikings, they have a lot of pieces coming back. Dak Prescott being the biggest guy to come back from his ankle injury. I think the Cowboys will be a solid team as well. Number 7, the Los Angeles Rams. They're a very solid team. Stafford's a good quarterback. They're probably one of the biggest threats to, say, the Packers and the Bucs there in the NFC, because that defense is deadly and the offense just got a whole lot better with Stafford. But without Cam Akers for the entirety of the season, what's going to happen with that running back position? Who knows? Maybe they'll re-sign Todd Gurley. I mean, that'd be an interesting storyline. Number 6, the Green Bay Packers. This one, Aaron Rodgers, MVP season. Offense, I think did better than a lot of people are going to give them credit for in terms of weapons and whatnot, and the defense is still solid. Number 5, you have the Baltimore Ravens. Again, another playoff team, very solid overall, both on offense and on defense. Will Lamar Jackson take that next step and finally be able to get past, say, the Chiefs in the playoffs? Let's see. Number 4, you have the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen. I love Ed Oliver. I love a lot of what the Buffalo Bills do. I mean, they really are a very, very solidly run team, and I think that they will make a lot of noise in this upcoming season. Number 3, you have the Cleveland Browns, and Nick Chubb's a beast, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry. That defense is solid as well. I like what the Browns have been doing. I think that they are also a team in the AFC. I mean, the AFC is going to be absolutely insanely competitive, in my opinion, with the Browns, the Bills, the Ravens coming in at number 2, by the way, with the Kansas City Chiefs being there. They just got to 2 Super Bowls in a row. I mean, it's going to be insane. It's going to be insane with how that AFC does, but overall, the Chiefs coming in, they improved that O-line dramatically after the Super Bowl, and it makes sense as to why, because coming in at number 1, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which in my opinion isn't surprising. You have Brady. Fournette they have listed as the starting running back here, which is surprising in my opinion, but Evans, Godwin, Brown, Gronk. I mean, Howard's coming back from injury. The O-line is the exact same. They brought back all their starters, guys. We all know this, and yeah, I think the Buccaneers do deserve to be number 1 in my opinion. They're saying the biggest weakness here is running. So let's read, right? Biggest strength. Tom Brady only had one wide receiver or tight end clear a 70 receiving grade in his final season with New England in 2019, and Julian Edelman barely met the threshold. But in 2020, Tampa Bay had 6 different wide receivers and tight ends record at least a 75 receiving grade, including O.J. Howard in limited action. It's one of the deepest receiving cores in the NFL, in my opinion, the best receiving core in the NFL, extending beyond those 6 to include promising young players such as Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson, and Jalen Darden. The biggest weakness, running back Leonard Fournette's stretch of success last postseason doesn't change the fact that 19.1% of his carries have gone for first downs or touchdowns since entering the NFL, third lowest among 30 running backs with 500-plus attempts. Ronald Jones was an effective runner last season, but he can't be relied upon on passing downs. Jones tallied just 165 receiving yards on 41 targets in 2020. It's difficult to find a true weakness on this roster, but the running back position is the closest thing to it in the starting lineup. Now, this was written, by the way, on July 1st, so I'm pretty sure that Giovani Bernard was already on the team, so I'm surprised that they didn't talk about Giovani Bernard covering up for that weakness, but X factor for 2021, linebacker Devin White recorded an 83.5 coverage grade across his final 5 games of the 2020 season, 3 of which were playoff games. White also came up with 10 quarterback pressures and 4 sacks over that stretch. The next step in his development is to play at that level with more consistency, like his teammate Levante David has done for years. There's no denying that White's speed in the middle of Tampa Bay's defense can be a game changer. I mean, I agree with the X factor. I agree with the biggest strength. In terms of biggest weakness, I honestly probably would have given a nod to, say, special teams play, punt coverage, kickoff coverage, because we saw that be a little bit of a problem for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers throughout the entirety of the season. I think that their weakness in terms of running back weaknesses was covered up with the signing of Giovani Bernard. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Like they said, it's tough to find a weakness with this roster, and hey, I'm not going to argue with that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the best roster in the entire league, according to Pro Football Focus, and I'm all here for it. So, what do you guys think? Tampa Bay has the best roster going into the upcoming 2021 season. I mean, I do agree with that, trying to not be biased here. They brought back all of their starters from a Super Bowl team. You'd figure they'd be the favorites to have the best roster in the league now. So, overall, guys, what are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comment section below. What do you think the biggest strength, the biggest weakness, and the X factor is for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into the upcoming season? For me, biggest strength, I agree with that. Biggest weakness, I'm still going to say special teams play in terms of punt and kickoff coverage. And then the X factor, Devin White, I think that is a very solid X factor choice, but I might even say Vita Vea. I think that I would say Vita Vea personally. So, what are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.